24 hours can be a very long time. With an 11-year-old, it was quite the adventure last night. Actually, last night wasn't so bad because he was excited to be here and got settled into bed pretty easily and fell asleep pretty quickly. So that was good. But today was a bit of an adventure. So he lives to the north, about 45 minutes, and his parents were coming down to our town because they wanted to do some things. And that was one of the reasons he came to spend the night with us, because he was going to come spend today with us anyway. My son in law is a volunteer at the Nevada State Railroad Museum. So I'll pop in a picture of the train that they had running today, the Glenbrook. Beautiful locomotive. And that is one of my son in law's favorite things to do. So it he kind of works helping to run the locomotive during the summer months. He actually has driven the train. Today he was working to feed lumber to the fireman, who is the person that sits next to basically the engineer on one side, and then the fireman sits on the other side and feeds the wood into the boiler. So you'll have to forgive me. I am really tired today, so putting words together is tricky. So he loves that. He comes down during the summer months. Sometimes he does it around Christmas as well because they run a Santa train. But I think this was one of the first real events of the season. It's the Mother's Day weekend train rides. And then my daughter decided that she wanted to come down and go on a nice long hike on one of the nearby trails, because we have some wonderful trails down here around Carson City, which I've mentioned before. So, like I said, they were both going to be down here and asked if we would mind having the grandson hang out with us. And we said, no problem. And then I went to visit the kids yesterday because my older grandchild wanted to kind of show me some more games and chat and things. So while my younger grandson was at school, I was hanging out with my older grandchild, who is homeschooled. And it was a nice, somewhat relaxing day. But driving back and forth, it's about 2 hours round trip and a lot of traffic. And then when I drove back, I had my younger grandson in the car who was chattering along as he does, which is fine. I have no problem with that, but I'm so used to driving alone that it took an extra amount of energy to pay attention to what I was doing and listen to him at the same time. So I was already tired by the time I got home. Like I said, last night went pretty smooth. He pretty much put himself to bed because, he's 11. And then I slept in the other bedroom up here. This is our top floor of our house. This is technically also a bedroom, but I currently have it set up as an office. And we have a separate bedroom that is my guest room / craft room. And then behind that, there's kind of a storage area. And that area, we have a little single bed back there. And so he slept in the guest room, and I slept in the little single bed back in the storage area, which is a little stuffy. There are no windows back there. And it has gotten warm here. So it was a little uncomfortable back there. Not terrible, just stuffy. And so I had a little trouble falling asleep. And of course, my grandson was up bright and early at 5 a.m. this morning, all chipper and ready to go, and comes in, Grandma. And it's like, oh, hi, sweetie. Time to get up, huh? So it didn't take too long for him to get bored this morning. We were watching some videos, and then we have a lot of things to explore around our house. But I guess he's been around the house enough that he's not really interested in most of them. And he's not at an age where he likes some of the things that I have, like certain games or things like that. But he's too old for the toys that I used to have for him. But he's not really old enough for some of the games that we have. So he's right in that awkward in-between phase. And he got bored pretty quickly and kept saying he wanted to go home. And I told him, your parents are down here doing some things, so you can't really go home right now. You have to wait for them to get done. And it didn't go over very well. So we decided to take a trip to the State Museum, and we had a good time there. We spent about a couple of hours, and then we stopped off and picked up some lunch, and then we watched a few more videos, and he got incredibly bored. So he kept saying, I want to go home now. And I said, well, your parents are going to be done soon, and then you can go home with them, because that was the plan. They wanted to take him home when they were done. And so finally, his mother suggested that maybe he'd like to go over to the Railroad Museum to visit his father. And at first, he didn't want to do that. But then afterward, he decided, well, that was more fun than sitting around Grandma's house anymore. So we ended up going over to the Railroad Museum, which did turn out to be fun for him because he got to help his dad with some train stuff. And he was so happy about it. He was going around telling everybody at the museum that he got to help with the train stuff. So it ended up being a good day all around, despite his boredom. I hope he remembers the fun parts more than the boring parts. But probably won't be staying here again for a while because the upstairs of our house gets pretty warm and we don't have air conditioning. So I think that was probably it until things cool down again in the fall, in which case, he'll be back in school. So who knows when we will next have our unexpected visitor. But that was quite the surprise yesterday. I didn't expect to come home with him, and I had really no plans to entertain him today, which was part of the problem, because sometimes when he comes over, if I have advance warning, I can get some things that I think he might enjoy doing, but I didn't really have anything on hand, like craft projects and things like that. So we just kind of had to fake it today. And so long 24 hours. I'm pretty darn tired. I need to do a few chores this evening. I got absolutely no work done on my manuscript, which is not unexpected. And if you have been on my channel, you will notice I didn't post a regular video yesterday because, as I said in my short that I posted, I had an unexpected visitor and didn't really have the chance to record my regular daily video. So in a way, I kind of broke my streak, but I still posted to YouTube. So I'm going to take this as I haven't broken my streak. Just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to say I didn't break my streak, even though I will not have 365 regular videos unless I double up one day, which is possible. We don't know. We'll see how that goes. I have a lot of plans for later in the year, especially with Spooktober, so I may actually end up doubling up on some days, but I actually haven't really thought yet about whether I'm going to do just the Spooktober videos in October, or whether I'm going to continue with my Life of a Writer series and Spooktober at the same time. That's something to consider. I'll have to see how busy I am at that point of the year, because October is going to be a pretty busy month with everything I have planned. So we'll see how it goes. But that was my 24 hours of adventure with my grandson. And if it sounds like I'm complaining, that's not at all what I'm trying to do here. I'm just recording what we did and how tired I am for my future reference. And I'm sure anyone else who has kids or grandkids understands completely. With 3 kids of my own, I spent a lot of summer days dragging my kids all over the place trying to entertain them because they would get bored too. I didn't do it every day, obviously, but sometimes we would go out adventuring on an afternoon if we were bored. So it's not like I don't have experience. It's just different when you get older and you don't have kids in the house all the time, because my kids moved out quite a while ago now. But anyway, it is Saturday evening. It is a bit warm up here, so my office is a bit stuffy. I didn't want to open the window because it gets very noisy outside, and I need to go down to the main floor where it's a little bit cooler. At some point, who knows, maybe we will get some air conditioning up here. We have talked about getting a mini split system, but they're rather expensive, so I don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't know. Our grandkids are getting old enough that I don't know how often they're really going to want to spend the night with grandma and grandpa. So we'll see. But it would be nice to have some air conditioning up here. We do have some portable, I like to call them R2D2, the little rolling window air conditioners where you kind of plug it into the window, but it sits on the floor. You actually plug the vent into the window. It vents outside that way, but the unit itself sits on the floor. So we have a few of those. We use a couple of them downstairs, and we have one upstairs as well, but I didn't think we'd really need it this early in the year, so it's not set up. But it is an option. I would have to rearrange my office a little bit to get it set up in here, but it is possible I could do that. I don't think I would set it up in the bedroom because that area is much bigger, and it is really not worth setting it up over there, I think. I can also come up here first thing in the morning, and if I leave the windows open overnight, it's very nice and fresh up here. So if I want to work in my office, I can do that. And that will probably be what happens this summer. Even though with JT going out to Comma Coffee to do his writing, I've been doing a lot of my writing at the downstairs desk. But it's fun to switch things up. I may write up here. I may write at the main desk. I can write at my dining room table. I could write in my recliner. I can go out and write. I have several places I can go to do that. So we'll see how the summer goes. But like I said, probably won't be having either of the grandkids over anytime soon due to the weather heating up. And I think younger grandson will be remembering the boredom for at least a little while. Once he forgets, then he'll want to come back. It never fails. This isn't the first time this has happened. But anyway, I wanted to check in and just like I said, I wanted to record how I'm feeling today so I can look back on it to remember because I also tend to forget how tiring it can be to have the little ones running around the house, even though he's really not that little anymore. He's up to my shoulder already. So anyway, that's enough blabbering for me today. I am sweating. I need to do some chores and get some sleep because JT and I have a book event tomorrow at the Carson Mall. I don't know if I will actually be recording any video at the event. If I'm bored, I might. I might walk around the mall or something because it's usually pretty quiet in there. And then that might be my video for the day. But in the meantime, I hope you're having a wonderful day, that you're enjoying your weekend so far, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.